Today we are going to talk about something that really interests you all around the world. If the final is watched by billions, so the games on the group stage are watched by millions. And now the main topic is, should Ronaldo play or not? And we get letters from two opposing camps. One writes, Martinez needs to drop Ronaldo. Martinez is the coach of Portugal. It is mind-blowing that he is still allowing that elderly man to shuffle around the top of a pitch. Well, a bit insulting, but people think like that. Okay. The other side or the other camp, I completely disagree with all Ronaldo haters because he is the only proper, most trusted striker on the team. So there are two opinions. Okay. Now, I'll today try to explain to you not my thought. At the end, yes. At the end, I'll tell you what I think, and two of my solutions are going to be very surprising. But anyway, football is like this. If you don't do something extraordinary, you don't win anything extraordinary. So let's start. I wanted to tell you one thing, which is very important. When we are fans of a club, we're fans of a club. A fan of Benfica or of Sporting or of Porto, they can live in different countries, and the love for this club unites them. The national team is something different. The national team belongs to the people of that country. And there are no fans of Benfica, Sporting, or Porto. There are fans of Portugal. And mainly we get opinions, and many of them, they are outside Portugal. But what is interesting for you to know, and for me it was very interesting to know, is what is the opinion in Portugal, because it is them who criticize, who put pressure, be it on a coach, be it on Ronaldo, be it on the midfield. I mean, it's them who really influence the team. It's not us who are not Portuguese and who don't. We are not fans of Portugal. We just love football. But the national team is a different story. So what do we say in Portugal? Ex-players, ex-coaches, or acting coaches, the elite of the cultural world, the political world. By the way, the political world says nothing because they are afraid to touch Ronaldo because it directly influences the number of people who are going to vote or not to vote for them. So that is political world we just eliminate from this discussion. So a mainstream view in Portugal, and you'll excuse me that I'll look at my notes because, all the public opinion that I collected in Portugal is, so it's quite a bit. So the mainstream view in Portugal is not Cristiano Ronaldo. The main view is that they have a golden generation. They have players fantastic in the midfield. None of the teams which are represented today in Mexico, Canada, and the United States have a generation of midfielders like that. And why is this team, at least judging from the first game against Congo, why didn't they show who they are? And the question which I asked myself, and they are asking themselves, above all, we're being asked in Portugal. So now, me, it doesn't matter. They make a difference between criticism and a campaign to remove Ronaldo. They don't want to remove Ronaldo. I can even give you some statistics that we have just extrapolated. 20-30% think in Portugal think that Ronaldo should become a substitute now. 50-60% think that Ronaldo should still start, but his place should no longer be guaranteed. That's different. and 20-30% consider that Ronaldo remains Portugal's best option and should continue as an undisputed starter and leader. So you see, even in Portugal, also the opinions are divided, but the mainstream is that he should be on the field because he's probably the most prolific striker in the history of football altogether. And he has an enormous influence on the team in the dressing room, obviously. So it's a very difficult decision, and the Portuguese understand it, and they still consider Ronaldo should start, but if he's not doing what he's supposed to do, no, the coach should have no problems to substitute him. Well, I think it's a correct way to look at it. Ronaldo is one of the 11. It's not Ronaldo plus 10. It's 11. So this is a correct way of seeing things, in football especially, and not only in football, by the way. Now, former coaches and players, they also are divided because there is a view that Ronaldo should be a substitute, but it differs a lot from Portugal's mainstream. And believe me, public opinion here counts more than anything else. The question for the mainstream is not of public opinion is not should Ronaldo play, but should Portugal be built around Ronaldo? That is the question. And obviously, no. Ronaldo should be part of Portugal and not Portugal around Ronaldo. That is clear. I'm asking myself, Eusebio of 1966, the younger viewers, of course, they don't remember 1966, but it was a team which was not as talented as this one, maybe not even close, but it came third. It played the semi-final, and then it won the game for the third place. And Eusebio scored 9 goals in that championship, in one championship. So Eusebio is out of question. Eusebio is a symbol. Eusebio is not discussed. I mean, if the Portuguese talk about Eusebio today, they're asking the question, who is our Eusebio today? Eusebio is someone who put Portugal on the football map, or in the map in general. That is the opinion, and that is beyond any discussion. Ronaldo is today the most famous Portuguese, not only footballer, but but in general, the most famous Portuguese in the world. And of course, he exacts a lot of respect. And Portuguese respect him. They don't want to humiliate him. They don't want to insult him because they understand that the team's fate in any way, one or another, is also linked to him. Why did it happen that in the first game, which was quite important because Congo is a good team and for Portugal it was important to start on the right foot and it was important to win, why did midfield did not possess, did not control, did not lacked in intensity? Why? Why are they playing for their clubs on a much higher level than they're playing in the national team? And that concerns everybody, from Bruno Fernandes to Vitinha. We watch them all the time, and they underperformed. Why? They're very similar. All of them like possession. All of them like to control the ball. And that's why Portugal plays more horizontally than vertically. That means it doesn't drive vertically towards the penalty box of the opponent. It plays horizontally. And there up front, there is only Ronaldo. And Ronaldo wants a ball which comes to him clean, absolutely clean, be it the head, be it the left or be it right. And that doesn't happen because they play too slow. Because like each of them loves the ball. They're very technical, at least in the match against Congo. So, and if when the Portuguese judge the first game, defensive organization, they say good, individual talent, outstanding, midfield quality, world class, collective attacking play, disappointing. Why is it disappointing? Because of what they said. It's like if you want a parallel from life, if you, or your wife or your sister or your daughter, they have in their they have a diamond, they have a sapphire, they have a ruby, well, they have a few precious stones, and all of a sudden they have a cocktail evening, and they put all of them together. Is it going to be attractive? I think it's going to be rather funny. So that's what Portugal is doing now. All their precious stones are on the field, and they look funny because against Congo they looked funny. They scored an early goal, and then it was all Congo. But if the right decisions are taken, Portugal can still reach a final, in my opinion. But you have to take drastic, courageous, and sort of not pleasing the public opinion decisions. You have to be very, very drastic and take responsibility. Martinez is not the guy who can do it. He's not. He cannot take responsibility. He will not take responsibility, even if he says that the most worthy are going to play. I don't see how he is going to put Ronaldo on the bench. Maybe he will when the situation gets really critical. But the point is not this. The point is that Ronaldo is still a good player. He's the best Portuguese attacker today. And how can you sort of transform him into somebody who is very useful to the team? And it's not a star in the team, but the team is a star. The team itself, it's a team. And we see it in all the games that the team counts. It's very rarely Lionel Messi, Mbappe. I mean, it does. Behind them, there is a team, and Portugal is not yet a team, and it has to become a team very quickly. Because okay, next game is Uzbekistan. On paper, it's easy, but we see that in this World Cup, easy games don't exist. So they have to really solve the problems, and the problems they have. We saw it. So you have Vitinha, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, João Neves. I mean, really, it's all world class. It's every club would dream to have them. Vitinha and Neves, they play in PSG. They won 2 European Champions Leagues in a row, and there is no chemistry. No, it doesn't work. What do Portuguese say? They say that probably you have to sacrifice someone in the midfield because Portugal is not playing on the flanks, and you have two players like Conceição and Leao who are both wing players, and probably have to sacrifice because 5 midfielders of that talent, but all playing more or less philosophically the same kind of football, maybe they're not compatible. That's one question that they're asking themselves in Portugal. And here comes, to my mind, and I again start looking in the Portuguese media, if they discuss the game that Pep Guardiola is playing at Manchester City, or was playing, the season 21-22, when he was playing without a center forward. And at every press conference or interview, he was asked, who is your center forward? he would say, space is my center forward. So that's one solution. That space becomes a center forward of Portugal. Ronaldo does not fit in that scheme and tactical scheme, and it's all played in the midfield and by the midfielders, and they can play in any position, all of them. That's one solution. But then the opponents of that point of view in Portugal say, well, but Guardiola eventually bought Haaland anyway. Yeah, he needed a center forward. So here I can answer you. Guardiola, he understood that City's game became predictable. So for him, Haaland was another possibility to disorient the opponent. He had a tactical choice, and he got Haaland. But Haaland is someone who creates a lot of space up front. He forces the opponent's defense play 10 meters lower, which Ronaldo doesn't do now, and never did, by the way, because he didn't play center forward that many years. So now the discussion is becoming more tactical than personal. It's not anymore Ronaldo, but it's a team, and that's very positive. And I can only laud the Portuguese for that they come to that level of discussion. We're not discussing the personality of Ronaldo. That's absurd. What is the solution? So, according to Portuguese, solutions are two: or you play with Ronaldo being the center of attack, and you build the game around him, but everybody has to agree. But then you make sacrifices in the midfield, and you put people who can play on the flanks, because otherwise Ronaldo is not going to be efficient. Yeah, or you play without a center forward. The center forward is space, and then you don't need a Ronaldo, because anyone can play there over 5 super midfielders. Now I'll come to my absolutely personal conclusions. Roberto Martinez is never going to make it. Never. He doesn't have the courage. He cannot have the courage. He came to Portugal. He's a foreigner. He doesn't have that respect in Portuguese society. He doesn't have that respect among football fans because he didn't do anything with Portugal yet. But knowing his past and knowing his coaching career, I take myself a responsibility of saying it that he'll never do it. Never. And not because we take the example of Belgium where he had that golden generation and he put all his precious stones together and looked funny at the end. But the extraordinary solution, to my opinion, would be if I were the president of Portuguese Football Federation, I would fire Roberto Martinez now, not waiting for the game with Uzbekistan. With Uzbekistan, they can win even without the chief coach on a bench. I would propose this 1-month contract to the coach of PSG. He has 2 players that play with him, Betinha and Neves, plus Luis Enrique is a man who doesn't play for public opinion. He has his opinion and he is strong behind it. But I also know that he'll not agree exactly because of Portugal and Portuguese, because he is French, and sort of for him it's not him who has to put Ronaldo on the bench, or it's not him who has to change all the mentality of a play of Portugal. So then I think, okay, Jose Mourinho. He's very respected in Portugal. He's an idol in Portugal. He's number 2 after Ronaldo in Portugal, as far as fame is concerned. But he does not play attractive football, and Portuguese like attractive football. But Brazilians, it's not nothing. You don't have to sort of go far to understand why. And but Mourinho has the authority, and Mourinho maybe in a short period of time he cannot now change the face of Portugal, and but he can take decisions, and that those decisions will be accepted by the public opinion. Look at coaches who won the World Cup. All of them, but not all of them, but you can take Piola of Italy, 30-34. You can take Helmut Schön of Germany. You can take Didier Deschamps, who was taking absolutely went against the public opinion. You can take Scaloni, who's a world champion and who changed the lineups every game in Qatar, and the public opinion was really against him. But he said, "That's my decision, and if we lose, I pay for it, or we pay for it." And above all, Enzo Berzot. In 1982, Paolo Rossi, everybody was demanding that he sits to put him on a bench, because Italy had tied 3 games in a group, and Paolo Rossi, you couldn't see him, and Enzo Berzot said no. Public opinion insisted louder, so they imposed a blackout of any relation with the media. And they got into the quarterfinal group, Brazil, Argentina. They beat Argentina. Paolo Rossi didn't score, but he played very well. And then the game with Brazil, Paolo Rossi scored 3. And it was Brazil like today Portugal. I mean, it was an incredible team. Remember, Falcao, Cesar, Zico. I was unbelievable. I mean, it was incredible talent. Italy beat them with 2 of those, and in the final they beat Germany. So, and they became world champions only because Enzo Berzot, he took a position, and that was his responsibility, his position. He risked, but he did it. Roberto Martinez cannot do it. And then another solution that I do have, but not for the immediate, but for the future of this Portuguese team, because this golden generation is going to last. If Ronaldo has the desire, if Ronaldo still has the stimulus to continue and to become really a legend in football, he's already a legend, but he's not on the level of Pelé and Maradona, and he's not even on the level of Lionel Messi. Let's be honest. So I would try to play in the back, in the center of defense. Ronaldo has everything for it. He plays well in the air. He has a physique. He understands what attacking football, how to deal with it. He's a leader. He has a very good pass. He sees the pitch, which is very important in football. I think that if he wants to play longer, and because we would like to see him on the field, I would like to see him playing, he has to go back to another position. He has to change position. He cannot play an attacking position, in my opinion. But I'm talking about the future. But the problem is today. And I don't think, I repeat, or you change Roberto Martinez, or you will not get beyond quarterfinals. And this Portugal deserves to be at least in a semifinal and maybe even in the final. So that is question number one today. Millions of people, we get millions of those opinions. So this is my opinion. This is a Portuguese opinion. Sort of, Ronaldo is great, but greatness alone does not win World Cups.